let's continue applying dark styles to the elements on the main page. The next element is this hero section. So right here, I'm going to change the background color of this section on dark gray. Let's open up index.html and apply dark color to the whole body element. Right here, I'm going to use BG gray with a shade of 800. Next one, there is this reflection right behind this image. We'll need to change the color of this reflection. The element responsible for showing up this reflection has a class of hero reflection in the markup. As you can see here, we don't have any classes because we're applying classes to this element by using apply directive right here and basically combining several classes into one with this directive. And all I have to do to override classes of the gradient is I will add a couple more classes. So from gray 700 is going to override the starting color of the gradient, and to gray 500 is going to override the ending color of this gradient. So we're basically making this gradient gray. And when the dark mode will be active, these two classes are basically going to take precedence over these two classes that apply colors to the gradient when the light theme is active. And as you can see, color of that reflection is changed. Next one, I'm going to apply white color for the text of this block. Right here, let's add text white class with the prefix of dark. And just to make the gradient color that is applied to VS Code word look better when the dark theme is active, I'm going to override gradient colors by applying the following classes from purple 300 and to indigo 300. This way gradient is going to start with purple color and end with indigo color. And the color of the subheading will also be different. When the dark theme is active, I'll make it gray with a shade of 200. And that's actually all what I was planning to do to make this section dark. We can move on to the next one, section with features. The first thing that I'm going to change is actually background color as well as color of the heading and subheading. And later on we'll be working on styles of individual feature cards. But before, let's apply background color to the features section. I will use BG Gray 700 class for it, and then we'll make color of the main heading white by using text white color, and the color of the subheading will be gray with a shade of 200. Now let's see what we got in the browser before moving on to the feature cards. Alright, cool, that looks good. Let's start working on the first card. For this one, I'm going to make border color indigo with a shade of 400 only when hovering over the feature card, and when the dark mode is active, also the background color of the card will be gray with a shade of 800 when the dark mode is active. And finally, I'm going to make border color black. For the icon that is contained within this card, I will change the color on indigo with a shade of 400. And the heading of this card will be white. And we'll make feature description gray with a shade of 400. After this, let's take a look at the result that we got, and if everything looks good to us, we can basically copy over those styles that we have just applied to the first card and apply them to the rest of cards. And after doing that, we're going to get the following. All those cards look identical. So at this point we can say that we have finished working on the dark version of this section as well. Let's move on to the next one, newsletter section. For this newsletter section there is not much to change at all. We'll basically have to change color of the heading as well as subheading and tweak styles of the input field. Firstly, I will apply text white class to the heading of this section. Text color with a shade of 300 will be applied to this subheading. And then we're gonna apply a bunch of additional classes to the input field to make it look good when the dark theme is active. Right here, let's apply ring indigo 400 to the input element to make the outline indigo when focusing this input field. And of course, since this class has to be active when the dark mode is active, we're using dark prefix along with the focus at the same time. Next one, I will make background color of this input gray with a shade of 700, completely remove border, make text color white, and additionally we'll also modify the color of the placeholder that we can do by using placeholder variant. And this is it for this section, and finally let's start working on the footer styles. As the first thing, I'm going to assign gray background color with a shade of 900 to this footer element. The text that is within the footer will be gray with a shade of 400. After that, I'm going to change the color of all these list items by assigning text gray 400 class to the first one, and then take this class and assign it to the rest of list items. And just because we have 3 such lists within the footer, I'm going to go through each list and apply the same set of classes to all list items. And all that is left to do after that will be to change the text color of the copyright text as well as the color of this border. So to change the color of the copyright text, I'm going to use text gray 400 class, and to apply border color, I'm going to use border gray 800 class. And eventually we have achieved the final result. We have completely turned styles of the main page into dark styles. The page also looks good on tablet screens as well as mobile devices. Link to the source code of this project will be as always in the video description.